Hey, this is Dale Tinsley. You're listening to the Connect podcast. Our purpose is to guide you to connect with yourself so that you can connect with others and live a life of meaning and value. Continuing the series, Connecting with Ourselves. Peace be with you, and welcome to another episode of Connect. Hope today's message finds you in great spirits, high energy, and a growth state of mind. Today's episode is titled Faith. So what do you think of when you hear the word faith? It's a lot to ponder. It's a lot to chew on. Today we're going to discuss some different levels and layers. Can faith be seen? Can faith be felt? We need to look within ourselves and ask ourselves these very questions. We can look outside of ourselves as well. So let's start outside of ourselves. How about oxygen? Can't see it. We know it's there because we take it in. And we have faith that it's an oxygen-enriched environment that we're in. And if it's not, we feel it quickly and start to deal with the consequences and need to get out of that area. What about putting faith in people? Let's examine that layer. You tell somebody, I had faith in you. Typically, that's an indicator that maybe things didn't go according to plan. But was it really faith that you had in them? Or trust and confidence? And you truly believed in them and their ability? And we'd like to think that people are going to lean on their integrity, their authenticity in tough moments of making tough decisions. But it doesn't always go that way. So maybe having faith in something outside of ourselves, in a person specifically, maybe that's a tough stretch for a person. And then sometimes we're surprised, right? What about building faith within ourselves? Prayer, meditation. These are ways to cultivate faith. Action. And more importantly, faith is solidified when we surrender to God. When we surrender to God and we have that moment of, I can't do this alone. I can't do this without you. I need help. That humility. That moment of humility is answered. God is waiting on us to join in with Him in full partnership and have that moment of deep surrender. And if you recall back on Edgar's testimonial, he has that moment. He has that moment of deep surrender. In Dylan's testimonial and his reflections, he has that powerful moment of surrender. And in that surrender, that's where the seed of faith truly starts to come alive and sprout. So how do we continue to build off of a moment like that? What is the process now that that spark has happened? And we have a taste of truly feeling connected to God, to our higher power, to something outside of ourselves. We focus on feeding that relationship with God. And there's some other layers that we need to cultivate also, because prayer, meditation, that is the Wi-Fi connection straight to the source, straight to the Creator. But we still have to deal with our egos. So in the internal work of processing our thoughts, processing our emotions, dealing with things as they come up, peeling the onions that hold us back from truly being present in the moment, using the art of self-awareness and tuning into ourselves and really digging into who we are and why, and the self-knowledge that's there, waiting to be uncovered. And as we start to do that work, just like in the prayer, just like in the meditation and the connection with God and feeding that faith, we start to have some trust. We start to build some momentum. It starts to create energy. And these things have to be maintained. And once that spark is lit, you have to continue to feed into it and cultivate it. Possibly, I bet on it, a lot of people watching, they might have had that beginning and then they fell off. And their faith is where it is. For each of us, it's an individual journey in how we connect to a higher power, how we connect to God, how our faith manifests. Are we led by faith? Do we truly, truly believe? These are questions we have to ask ourselves. Nobody can tell you about your faith except you, because it's unique to you as an individual, as is your life. This is your hero's journey. All the cultivation that you've done within yourself, from episode 1 through this point, has strategically been designed for you to get to the point that you have that spiritual awakening. The journal work has been designed for the deeper dive into the content, into each episode, for you to continue to dig deeper and get to your why. Remove all the limiting factors. See them for what they are. Gain clarity, gain energy, gain momentum. So faith it's magical, because it's truly believing in what you can't see, but you can feel it. You can definitely feel it, and you can be led by it. And when you're led by it, and when you're tuning your mind, when you're tuning your body, when you're feeding that faith and you're cultivating it, mind, body, spirit, those synchronicities start to happen. And you see them clearly. And that lets you know you're on the right path. Your hero's journey is being supported and fortified by God. You're doing the internal work that you need to do. You're doing the next right thing, like I heard from a good buddy, Ted Brown, taught me that. Dale, just keep doing the next right thing, is what he told me. And it made a lot of sense, and I've continued to cultivate that within myself. And that's a foundational block under the authenticity side. So, continuing the conversation and fortifying our faith. You know, faith is easy to have when life is easy, things are great. We give thanks to God. Yeah, things are good. But is our faith tested? Do we see it as a test? Or do we go into the fixed mindset and go into the, why is this happening? This always happens. Cultivating mind, body, spirit. Cultivating our faith and our relationship with God. The way we look at things begins to change. The things we look at don't change. But as we continue to grow, as we continue to push, we see things differently. We see ourselves differently. We see other people differently. We gain perspective. Our perception changes. All of these things are connected. They all feed each other. They are all connected. When it rains, it pours, right? When good things start to happen, synchronicities start to line up, you'll get a good run of synchronicities. Boom, 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 boom. And the same thing happens on the negative side. Then it's when it rains, it pours. And if you're in that negative state of mind, in that fixed mindset, you're welcoming it. You're welcoming the next negative thing to come. Where's the faith at that point? Our faith is tested. It's tested by design, because that's how we grow. That's how we push. That's how we deepen our faith. It's a very personal topic, and I hope the discussion, I hope the different layers inspire you to reflect on it, in the good times and in the bad. Life throws many challenges at us, and sometimes we abandon our faith. And we have to go through heavy trials and tribulations, and we may feel like we're alone. But we're never alone. And those trials and tribulations, we beg for them to end. And it's the pattern that will continue until we learn the lessons and we start making different choices. Faith is the manifestation of love. Faith is the Wi-Fi signal in between us and God. And that faith is in between us. And we've got to cultivate ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. Lead by example. Tap into our authenticity. Be our brother's keeper. Do our part in the family. Do our part in the community. Do our part for humanity. To push ourselves past the comfortability into where the magic is, into the unknown. Hope today's discussion helped open your mind and open your heart and push you deeper and closer to cultivating, exploring your faith, and building that relationship. I'd like to invite you to go to theconnection.studio. Check out the journal for today's episode for a deeper dive into the content. Thank you for your time. God bless. Thanks for joining us at the Connection Studio. You can support us by sharing with others and posting to social media. Keep doing the internal work, as it will truly make all the difference. God bless.